Good question. I'll get right to it here in a minute. I really don't have a statement. Yeah. Oh, this one right here. Said beyond the obvious judging football ability on tape, what goes into researching the character of transport portal players and their reasons for transferring and projecting how they will fit as team members and not uh, distractions regarding their playing time. How could that research be done methodically and carefully this 22-23 period when you took so many expected to play key roles immediately? I think in our transfer portal evaluation, a lot of it relies on where they're transferring from to. I mean, we want to call and talk to as many folks as we can from the school that he's transferring. Obviously, character becomes the number one concern. We've already evaluated. We just very rarely, now there's some instances when we take guys from the portal that haven't played a lot of ball, but we very rarely have had success doing that, to be honest with you. We have to see them on tape for the most part playing at, we don't really care what level. I mean, there is a concern about, who they're playing against. But we go back and research if we have seen any 40 times, we research how many times they've been hurt. Are they coming in with the injury? And then we try to find out as much as we possibly can about character. And obviously we go from our boards to needs, and then we rank our needs, and then we rank the guys coming in and however they are on our needs. That's how we bring them in first, second, third, fourth. And to be perfectly honest with you, we try to find out if they're looking for an NIL deal or they're looking for a team. If they're looking for just an NIL deal, a lot of times we don't have just great success with those guys. But if they're looking for some NIL and things of that nature, not necessarily the highest bidder, we do real well with those guys. Hope I answered the question.
Mock game Saturday?
Friday, tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything out of the box?
No, to be honest with you, our mock game has kind of gone a little bit, Trey, into, I believe taking the stress out of the kids is a main concern about game day. So we will do everything from pregame meal. Now we're not going to do it 4 hours before the game, but we'll do everything from pregame meal, how we do that, to we'll do the hog walk, to running through the A, to where do we set, to a bunch of substitutions. We'll go through goal line and make sure we have the goal line out there. But we used to put on shells and run a kind of a game. We used to put on spiders, and then we went to spiders, and now it's we use that for announcing our captains tomorrow, and then we use it for team photo, and then we use it for just substitution. It's almost like a subscript, a little more physical than a subscript would be on a Friday afternoon. In other words, we nobody will get taped and things like that tomorrow. It'll be more of mental than what it'll be physical, and showing them from the beginning to the end to everything of what game day is all about.
This week, how difficult is that conversation, and how do you broach that with somebody like, been working on our offense, working on our defense, and now we need to work on the opponents?
Well, I think it's tough. The first thing I did, I put up 2 guys that were scout team players that went in the first round. Isaiah Wilson played on the scout team the entire year, and 2 years later he went in the first round. And Jonathan Cooper, I coached him at North Carolina, was a scout team redshirted guy, and then was a 7th pick in the draft. Guys learn a little bit different. Some guys aren't big enough, strong enough yet, but I showed them, talked about, their dreams, whatever their dreams may be, is they can still have them. These guys did, and they continue to do it. But we've got, the better your players get, the better your scout team gets. I can remember in 2017 at Georgia, our scout team, I know on both sides of the ball, but I was more, knew more about the defensive scout team, was incredible. And I think it helped us tremendously. And I think the better your players are, the better scout team your look team's going to be. And I thought they did a really good job. Alex Sanford is down there right now. I don't know, he'll be there all year. He makes a lot of plays down there. And there's guys showing out every day, or the last 2 days since we've moved scouts. So really proud of them. The conversation is hard, though.
Put a bow on what you thought of camp now that it's done, and then the prep for Western Carolina. How it's gone so far? What you think of the plan?
Well, I like camp. We are beat up. If you guys come to practice, there's several guys in. There's some guys in green. There's some guys not in there. There's some guys things that. I do not think today, though, to be perfectly honest with you, that we'll have anybody. I don't think that we'll have anybody miss a game, except for obviously Bakke. We're trying to be smart with them. Some of the guys today, we did scout team work with them, but did not do good on good work with them. We had 3 different segments of good on good. We didn't put them in live action. We do have some guys with some ankle injuries and things of that nature that we've got to get healed up between now and when we play next Saturday. So it's been a physical camp. It was a physical practice today. It was just a Tuesday practice for us, but there's 3 segments of good on good and a lot of physicality. We went goal line, we went short yardage, all those things that obviously we all know we needed to work on last year. And we're trying to correct all those things. So really proud of where we've been. I wish we weren't as banged up as we are right now, but I believe that by Monday, at least half, maybe more of the guys that were holding the good on good sections, I think what we've got.
We saw Quincy yesterday. I'm not sure about today. So
Quincy McAdoo? Yeah.
Slim chance for this year, and what does it look like?
Well, you never want to take a guy's, 3 months ahead of him. But if I was saying here, he needs some physical development. I had a long talk with him yesterday, and he's 192. He came in at 170 something, and he looked frail to me a little bit yesterday because he was 204, I think, before he had his accident. But he is doing really well. We want him to. He's coming every day now. We want him to help us coach as a student coach until he gets his physicality back, and then we'll figure out what happens after that. I love him. I think he's doing really good. I do. I think I had a long talk. He'll have to tell you, and I'm sure he'll be more than happy to talk to you. But I think start of camp crushed him, because he wasn't able to be out there with the team and all those things. But I think he's doing well. The conversation I've talked to him for 45 minutes yesterday. That conversation. Thinks he's in good spirits. He's a Christian young kid. He believes there's a reason for everything, and he's going to make the best of his situation, and he'll get his strength back totally and see him.
And you mentioned, when a guy goes in poorly, it's always old school. What are those conversations like? Because I can understand when you might call Coach X about player Y and say, I don't want to talk about that guy or something. What are those conversations like, generally speaking?
Well, some of them you say, "Hey, he left because," and you go, oh, "Okay, we can't get that on our team." Sometimes they'll say, "Well, we've had a guy or two started for him, and then for whatever didn't have a good second half of the season, whatever, lost his aggressiveness at practice, whatever it may be." Do we feel like with our coaching staff, do we feel like we can get him back to what we saw on tape, or is he going to come in and be that kind of a guy? People call us all the time about our guys that transfer, and if they transfer the right way, We never have anything but good things to say about them. Well, we're truthful, about the ability, which we need to be. But character-wise and all that, if they do it the right way, we certainly. And we've never said anything negative about any of our guys that transferred. It's just been simply, most of them, it's been because they want to go play somewhere and they don't see a light on the depth chart here, most of them. And it's kind of that way with some other schools too. And you can get a guy like, let's say, Jaheim Singletary, that is really a good player, but he's knocked up, locked down on the depth chart at some schools and things of that nature. So that's a little bit, it is a difficult conversation, but it's one you have to have because you cannot afford to take a character issue.
And then you mentioned NIL. I'm sure Terry Paris is going to Mississippi State. I don't know how closely you work with Terry, but I feel like you did a pretty good job getting NIL launched. I just wonder what your thoughts are about the job Terry did.
Yeah, we wish him the best, and obviously everybody's in, who wants to move up in the profession, and if that's what he felt like he did, we're very happy for him. And we worked well together, and he did a wonderful job here, and he'll be missed, but certainly the NIL program I'm sure it will continue to be as good as it has been, and will get better, but I'm happy for him if he's happy.
Still working back, or if Andrew Chamblee has maybe won over that starting left tackle job?
I think that's still yet to be seen. Andrew Chamblee certainly deserves reps on a Saturday. I think there'll be an ongoing battle there, and then I think at some point you'll go, okay, are both of these guys in our top five? And if there isn't, you got to have another conversation of what's our best five? Where can we put our best five? Lately, in the last few days, Tykeith Crawford has entered into that conversation as well. But I couldn't be any more proud than I am with Andrew Chamblee, and he took an opportunity and he proved that he's ready to play, and so we're going to play him.
I've seen Amari Wiggins has also run with the first team offense a little bit. Is he in that top five conversation as well?
Absolutely. And I think we've had some injuries over the last, week. And we've found, you see them against our D line and things, and you're going, okay. So I think we feel really good about at least 8. I do, with Amari being one of those guys. He's beat up a little bit with an ankle. We've got to get him healthy as well, but he's never missed a practice. Well, he missed a couple early when he first did it. But we got to get that ankle healthy to really see what kind of player he really is, because the power is not quite there because of the ankle. But I think once the ankle gets healed up, and he's close, but we're monitoring him and the reps that we give him right now versus good on good.
I was wondering with Antonio Greer, what exactly is going on there? And do you expect him to be okay?
Well, he had a quad pull, and we expect him to start practicing on Monday. But he's had a lengthy injury there. Even when he was practicing, he wasn't full speed. So we expect that our plan is to either get him in some Indy on Saturday, and then obviously Sunday we're off. Monday, so it will be a Tuesday practice for us. But at the latest, we'd like to get him back on the field Monday, and we think we can.
So you were complimentary of Jaden Johnson on the radio last night.
Yeah.
But he's been with the a few days, I think.
Yeah.
What specifically has he done better than he was last year?
And I don't know. You guys, I think he'll really have to answer that question, but here's what I've seen. He's changed. Matter of fact, I talked about a couple of guys who they decided that it's not this guy, it's not that guy, it's not the coach, it's not the culture, it's not this, it's me. I've got to change. And I called out Jaden Wilson, because he certainly has. Now, he's a little beat up right now, but he certainly has. And I called Jaden Johnson because what we saw as young guys, maybe not quite all the time last year, from those two guys. And then this year they are leaders. They're as hard working kids as we have. They've always had the athletic ability, and I think they've just decided, hey, let me focus on me and not this, where I'm in the depth chart, this, that, and the other. And can I become the player that I should be? And I couldn't rave any more about those two guys. They have totally changed their mindset, in my opinion. They would have a better answer than me, but that's what I see.
On the roster, I think I counted for Georgia. So between you and Jimmy, Georgia's just more open for y'all now, I guess.
Yeah, it really is, and we have that relationship in there. And Jimmy's really the guy. I mean, Jimmy's like the godfather when he walks into schools over there. Because he everybody respects him, man. He had such a great career, as a head coach over there, both in football and track. But yeah, Georgia's been good to us, and we'll continue to recruit there.
You have a lot of transfers from smaller schools and new players, and you have 2 neutral site games, especially one to open the season. Have you talked to them about kind of the increased rigors that entails, and if you have, how are those going?
Well, that's a good question. We really haven't. I believe our D2 guys, if I'm thinking, that's the 2 wideouts, and they've been here since January. I think they're excited about going into new venues and having a lot of people there and all those type things. But I think I've asked them both about the differences, and obviously it's, just on a bigger scale, more people, more help, more trainers, more, food, all that kind of stuff. But I think they're ready for the challenge. They were really, really good Division II players, and I think they're excited to see what this is all about. But, they practiced so many times against SEC type players that I think they're going to be just fine, but they're really excited.
And then as far as the portal, do you think communication between coaches has kind of gotten better as a byproduct because of the portal?
In a lot of cases, there's no communication and the guy's gone. Most time when somebody comes in and says, I'm going to portal, they know where they're going, but in our case, I really believe that they get in the portal. Brian Overton tells us they're in the portal. We watch the tape, we do this, and then we call whomever it is to try to get to know them. But I think it's just like anything else. You take mine, I'll take yours, whatever your need. Different teams have different needs, immediate needs, or help depth-wise needs. And, I've got enemies out there. I don't think I have a whole lot of enemies in the coaching business, and they're willing to talk to us. And we certainly are them. We want to help our kids if they decide to leave.
Not that they didn't lose anything, but is that happening in the Western Division? It's like, I know you got connections to Georgia, but you're not calling up Lane and Eli Drinkwitz and saying, hey, are you? Are they calling you?
No.
Not that close.
No. And usually I'm not talking about the SEC. Now I've called Kirby, but no. No, that doesn't happen. I'm talking about Tesla, and I'm talking about guys from, like Kiwi Rhodes and things like that. Rhodes, excuse me. Yeah, no, there ain't a whole lot of conversation going on there.
The next line with you talked about having 9 guys and 3 deep and stuff. That's obviously a position group that rotates probably more than any other position. Is that something you see as a team? It's like we're going with this group and next year this group and this group, and how much of a benefit can that be in terms of getting to the fourth quarter?
Yeah, I think big, especially early in the season, when depth is going to show later, and it can show early in the heat. So I think it's huge for us going against Western Carolina early, because it's going to be hot in Little Rock, real hot, and on the turf as well. But I think, to be honest with you, The only thing I don't want a 4-man rotation, then a 4-man rotation, then a 4-man rotation, and 4-man. I do want, let's go back. The guys who run out there first, those are the ones that deserve to be running out there first. In other words, I don't want to be each week, okay, these 4 guys go out first, the next 4, if these get 4 guys out down here, one of them outplayed the guy, he goes out there first in this group. I don't want it to be, okay, well, they're all playing the same amount, but somebody's playing better, he doesn't have a chance to run out, because it's more important to the kid than it is to us who runs out there first if you're rotating, you know what I mean? And we want to make sure that we honor that if they're out playing the guy ahead of them. But yes, I think 4 plays and we'll probably rotate in and out at that point. And then at the end of the game, you want to make sure you have whom you think are your best 4 out there. And it could be a different 4 if you're trying to keep them from scoring on 2 minute and your 4 best pass rushers. It could be, get the ball back. It might be your 4 best run guys against your run. Thank you, everybody.